Hello, and welcome to the surf movie Sprout. This is a film about the exploration of the riding of water mountains and molehills. The idea behind Sprout is to show how many different ways we have to access our ocean existence, using whatever shape or sized equipment it might take to have a more connected ride. Like here we have a man named Dan who thrives off the open-ended projection of his four-fin Toby fish. And then we have Belinda Baggs, who is one of the finest navigators of the nasal passage. And here she gets 10 piggies over. And here we have our newfound mat enthusiast, Dave Rostovich. He's so psyched about this new planing experience, he can barely contain himself. Some people try to simulate surfing with a skateboard, and others do off the tops in their rental cars. And then we have people like Mark Cunningham that just leave all their gear at home. Here Mark gets a good one at the pipeline. All these people have a few things in common, but the most apparent is the Cheshire Cat grin on their faces. We as surfers, no matter what devices we access with, are so ridiculously lucky to have the lives that we have, to experience the sensations, the perspectives, and the raw acts of beauty that nature lets us be privy to. The next 80 minutes of this film are a celebration of our blessings, and an affirmation to the benefits of this pursuit. As in all movies, there's a cast, and here's ours.
First time I saw Tom Wigner surf, I was 10 years old. It was 1985. I remember being at Cardiff and my dad had grabbed me and kind of wanted me to come watch this guy surf. It was blowing his mind. And that was one of the major inspiring moments for me to see old school surfing, you know. I mean, really young age, seeing someone like that hang heels on really ancient equipment that wasn't very friendly to ride was really crucial. And that was one of the defining moments of like what true longboard style was. In a lot of ways, when I got older and was at an age that I could get the boards and do the stuff, I looked to Tom for inspiration. So he was an original, if not the.
In 1998, Tom Wigner was traveling around Australia with Dan Wozniak's great surf movie, Siestas and Olas. One afternoon while doing promotion for the movie, Tom met Margie Shoes, a DJ at a local radio station, for an interview. Once their paths crossed, sparks flew. It's been 6 years now, and Tom has no intention of ever returning stateside. And rightly so, Marg and Tom quickly sprouted Finley and Sunday, and now live out in the country of Noosa Shire.
My goal is just a simple lifestyle. A few years ago I was in stressy high production mode, making 5 boards a week with 2 employees. Then I got it down to 2 boards a week. And now I make 1 wood surfboard a week. This affords me time with the kids, and I still earn enough to get by. I've worked with Polonia wood for 4 years, and I found that it's amazing for surfboards. I dreamed of making a pure Polonia board, and I knew that if I could do it, that it would really be something special. Polonia is great for making surfboards. It's light, it's strong, and it doesn't deteriorate. For example, in China, they make coffins out of it for just that reason. I wanted to make a surfboard that would ride as good as the old balsas, but is so durable that it can last a lifetime. Wood feels different from foam. It goes faster when in trim and bounces from turn to turn with a lively, super responsive feeling. I just love it. There's almost no waste with making wood surfboards. The scraps go into fins and tail blocks. The sawdust mulches my trees, which will be surfboards someday. Okay.
Noosa Heads is a mecca for longboarding in Australia. The multiple point break setup of Noosa makes it a sure stop-off point for national and international surfers alike, and a ripe zone for budding expatriates. that girl that's drawn their phone in. Checking their watches when you're out tonight. Listen, I'm getting you and me. When I do stuff across the kitchen floor, you know I sit the door on your mother's old-fashioned way. So I'm got that girl drawn their phone in. Checking their watches when you're out tonight. Listen, I'm getting you and me. When I do stuff across the kitchen floor, you know I sit the door on your mother's old-fashioned way. So I'm first the
Mark Cunningham and Mike Stewart, they're like water scientists. I think it's funny that for years now we've been trying to ride surfboards that ride closer to the curl, and Mark and Mike figured that out a long time ago and never looked back. Mark Cunningham is the Jerry Lopez of Pipeline for body surfers. He's been out there for so many years, and he sits in that corner of the reef, and he just waits for those gems. He knows the ones. Mike Stewart is known for his bodyboarding, but he's probably pushed body surfing further than anyone. If you're talking about people that really know what's going on out there, Mark and Mike are by far the best surfers in the water. And the best thing about it is they're the coolest guys too.
It was pretty much like watching a bodyboarder without a bodyboard. Actually, he probably rode some of the waves better than some of the bodyboarders, you know.
Mike's unbelievable. He uses his arms and his legs and his rails to put him in crazy places. He definitely sees things that nobody else ever sees.
I
love watching Mark body surf. I mean, I spent half my time on the North Shore now body surfing because of Mark Cunningham, you know? They're both freaks. They are both freaks.
The mutant message from down under your feet is a story that's seldom told. It is a story of combinations, shapes and projections of the past blended with modern foils. A story that glides and arcs into areas of the face that aren't usually explored. The following is a murmuring of this tale. A look into the writing of fishes, of the 2- and 4-fin variety, discs, eggs, and the bonzer.
I will have all the riches of this land. As far as the eye can see, it will all be mine. This land is ripe for the taking. The natives are stupid. I will conquer them all. I will call this land the Californias.
White people have taken many things from many cultures, and surfing is one of them. Surfing was originally introduced to the Californias and Santa Cruz by two young Hawaiian princes in the late 1800s. The Californias have been a ripe zone for the ancient sport of the Hawaiians due to its long-distance fetch window orientation to Antarctic and Aleutian storm patterns. Swells travel a far distance to arrive in the Californias, preparing them to meet the many point breaks of the region. More often than not, their size diminishes just enough to make them perfect for what we in the Californias call log riding. In definition, this is the riding of heavily glassed, single-fin longboards. In this part, we will showcase a few sessions with a few of California's top loggers and check in on their extra logular activities. First off, we have Alex Nost, a very hot surfer from Newport Beach, California, showing us a little bit of his traditional logging style. Do it, Al, do it! The Californias is a multi-dimensional region from its vast mountainous northern territories to its almost two-thirds desert regions in the south. The population swing is as expansive as its terrain. "400 years is a blip in the history of humanity, and the ideas of the control and conquer ideology of the conquistadores lives on in many of today's modern leaders." Tyler Hedzekian is a surfer shaper from the mid-region of the Californias, from a small, quiet coastal town called El Segundo, which is set smack dab in the middle of Los Angeles County. As well as being one of the foremost stylists in the modern logging tradition, Tyler specializes in making heavy single-fin longboards. Tyler has been shaping since he was 12 years old. A big guy at 6'2", 230 pounds, Tyler is incredibly agile for any size. Here we get to see Tyler put one of his shapes to the test. Every once in a while it goes flat in the Californias, and then it's time to pack up and find something else to do. Here one of our sproutlings, Tracy Marshall, gets a combination of Kodak and jackass courage. He found a spot that was 100 foot and glassy. After a savage beating, Tracy washes off on one of California's fine little peelers. Occasionally, people get a little hungry in the Californias. And here we have Dean Peterson preparing a special treat that can be cheap and easily accessible for surfers on the go in the southern regions of the Californias. We like to call this tortilla, avocado, hot sauce contraption a clogger, because after a few weeks of throwing these bad boys down day in and day out, that's exactly what happens. Things start to clog up. At this stage, it doesn't look like DP is worried about that at all.
I got something to tell you, like mama.
Another fun thing to do when you get bored in the Californias is drive around looking for abandoned chicken shacks, flatbed trucks, outhouses, or dwellings of any kind that look like they might need a little beautification. Here we have the produce of a number of flat days, featuring the artistic direction of Andy Davis, Big Gay Al, Barry McGee, Dane Peterson, and T. Mohair.
Because you're
Through his many years of growing up on the multitude of point breaks in the Californias, C.J. Nelson has developed one of the most technically advanced nose riding repertoires to date. Here C.J. and fellow Santa Cruzian Dane Purley give us a lesson in tip control, and Diamond D messes around at one of California's well-groomed point waves.
Warning: the following PSA may contain social commentary that could ruffle your feathers. If it does, you may need to take yourself less seriously.
You know, the Eskimos, they get like 100 words for say ice, but the Hawaiians, bruh, we get like 1,000,000 ways for say aloha. Try watch. Like for instance, you know, the Wahinis, they wear the shaka bra, also known as the brassiere. Every once in a while, bruh, we get the Canucks coming to Hawaii to visit the islands. For them, we coined the chocolate mousse. Yo, way! Shaka? All you California guys, you know this one too. That's the kind. After Shaka, what the? Whoo! So, when you see one guy that you like, but you don't really like, for this guy you give him the kind micro Shaka. Also used for politicians and cops. This is reserved for the most unrealist folks in the world. This is when the Howleys give back the island to the people. They get one mega shaka. Rasta shaka. Oh, yeah. And then there's the kind evil powers that's using the shaka for evil purposes, like the kind Shastaka. Dum 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 shock attack. But when we were small kids, we used to always watch Sesame Street. You ever seen the kind count? Shockula, 1 shaka, 2 shaka, 3 shaka, 4 shaka, 5 shaka, 6 shaka. Ha! This has been a public shaka announcement, so remember all you Harley boys out there, when you're surfing or cruising like that, try throw shakas and not bombs, eh?
Oh, there's so many good things to say about old Skipper. The guy is like a little kid trapped in a 62-year-old body. He's out there all day long. It doesn't matter. Sunburnt, crispy, just stoked. So stoked. Seeing how much enthusiasm he has about surfing and how dialed in all his equipment is, and he's just ready to surf all day. That's what I want to be doing when I'm his age. I want to be like Skip. Skipper, Joel, and I had such a good time in Costa Rica that we decided to go back the following year. Unfortunately, Skipper couldn't join us, so Joel and I headed down south in search of these long left point breaks that we'd heard about. And this is what we found.
In the mid-90s, Jerry Lopez and his family made a transition from living in Maui to a life at the foothills of the Cascades in Bend, Oregon. The move was made for a better schooling opportunity for their son Alex, as well as Jerry's deepening interest in snowboarding. Recently, Dan Malloy went to Oregon to pick up two 70 single fins he'd ordered for a trip to the East Indies, and this was when we had a chance to peek into a day in the life of one of surfing's most stylish messiahs.
Day in my life's pretty simple. Wake up 5 or 5:30, go out, have a cup of tea, and do about an hour and a half of yoga. Call the snow report from the mountain, and if it sounds good, then I get a little excited and maybe do a little more yoga and think about what I'm going to do up there. And then the mountain opens at 9, so I'll go up and ride until I run out of fun up there, or energy, and then come down the hill at noon or 1 or 2, or if it's exceptionally good, even later than that. And then usually come back to the shaping room, shape a board or two, go home, do a little more yoga, eat dinner, go to bed. These boards are exactly what we used to ride back, in the early 70s. This red 610 and this orange 72 are pretty close to the shapes that we'd ride at like Velzyland or maybe Small Pipe or Sunset Point or something like that. I mean, as funny as they look now, back then that's what they all look like. So here you guys go. Good luck.
Wonder how this board will work.
It's a rare occurrence when you see a woman riding a proper single-fin longboard. But when you do, and it's done right, it's one of the most beautiful forms of surfing there is. This is where elegance meets the glide in the Lady Slide.
East Indies is one of the most beautiful places a surfer can imagine going to. There's thousands of surf-soaked islands that are rimmed with tall palm trees, blue skies and clean water. It's surreal. I mean, how good is this? So this trip was about unity through diversity, being that there was 7 of us representing totally different parts of the surfing organism, and that we were all completely amped and enthusiastic for sharing surf together and having fun doing it. And this feeling was totally infectious. So when we arrived in the East Indies, we came across some really fun little surfing playgrounds. These perfect little empty ways with no one around. We were riding our logs and our twin fins and fishes, not caring what we look like. Just like the little kids you see in a playground who don't care what they look like when they're swinging on swings or flying on merry-go-rounds. Between sessions we were just hiding out in the boat from the gnarly Indies sun, scribbling, playing Scrabble and just being dorks laughing along the way. I got turned onto these surf mats a while ago from a friend of mine back home and decided to bring a few on the trip for everyone to try. I knew that these things are ridiculously fun and that they bring the biggest smile to your face when you're riding them. And the best thing about it is that when you run over your buddies, no one gets hurt. kicking back on the boat one day when Dan unveiled these two beautiful Jerry Lopez single fins. And instantly both Dan and I were dreaming of Cheetah 5 tube rides at this one sunset-like wave that we'd both surfed before. But until then we were satisfied to wax them up and give them a test drive.
Please don't believe it's true. Splendid thoughts lost on you. I had a lovely day, wasting time just in case. Don't play the graceful sway. Love be told down this way. Please don't believe it's true. So much time lost with you. Number one, two. Try to see. Practice twice. Sure looks nice. Try to see.
We'd been surfing this perfect little left all day and we're having so much fun when all of a sudden we noticed that Aussie was starting to get a little bit batty. So the day had come when we finally got to that place we were dreaming about riding the jerry boards. It's so crazy when you hold a dream for something to happen with a certain surfboard, and then somehow that dream actually happens.
Well, here we are at the end of our journey. I hope you had as much fun watching this film as we had making it. In parting, I'd like to say, enjoy all the possibilities you have available to you. And definitely enjoy your moments, because in the end, that's all we really have. Thanks for watching.
Sun came up today and it burned my blues away. sunshine, I'll get by. Got my sunshine, I'll get by. Wind rose up today and it blew my blues away. Wind rose up today and it blew my blues away. Go ahead if you have to leave me. You ain't coming back this time. I hope that's fine. Sunshine, I'll get by. Got my sunshine, I'll get by. Got my sunshine,